So my first two roommates in New York were like these two super straight dudes that would like always bring home girls, even though we were in this super small dorm that literally had like 3 beds and we could like all see each other, okay? So like one night he brings over this girl and like he's usually super quiet about it, but this night, y'all, I'm trying to like sleep. I have class at 8 in the morning and all I hear is so I start going, because like obviously how are you not gonna laugh? And then they stop and I'm like, okay, don't laugh. And then it starts again, it's like, and I just go, in my pillow. And then the girl's like, oh my God, I think he's awake. And my roommate's like, what do you think? And then she's like, I hear him laughing. No way. At this point, I'm losing y'all. Okay, so my freshman year, I had this English teacher, and he was so hot. He was like deployed in like Alaska or some shit, and then like he had like just came back, and like he was so hot. Like his muscles were insane, y'all. I was literally crying, and then he made us do this journal assignment where like for the whole semester, every single time when we got there, we basically had to write down like a journal entry for the day. So I would literally just like look at him and be like, I want you to pin me against the wall and beat me. I want you to like, I literally said everything, y'all. Like I did not hold back. I literally said some crazy shit. And he said he was never collecting these, but then at the end of the year, he said, you know what? For extra credit points, I want all of these journals. And I said, excuse me? And he said, yeah, give it to me. And he emails me and he says, wow, you have a very vivid imagination. I had a pink iPod Touch, and I called that iPod the iPod of the traveling booty hole, because I put that in my booty cheeks every single place I went when my parents tried to turn me straight. Like, literally, after the military school, I had to go back into the mental hospital, and girl, when I was leaving, I was like, oh my God, I don't have anyone to give this to. Like, I can't, like, hide it anywhere because I'm going straight from the military school to the hospital. So, girl, you need to think quick. So I put it in between my cheeks again, and I'm like, okay, let's go in. So I go in, and I'm saying hi to everyone. I'm a seasoned regular at this point. They're all like, oh shit, his parents found out again. So I go into the security place where they're like checking me and patting me down, and then he's like patting me down, he's like, damn, they really found out again. And I'm like, yup. And then I feel that my iPod's slipping, and I'm like, no, clench. And he started to check on my back, and I was like, no, please don't fall, and then he falls, and I just feel on my like underwear, and I know he sees it, and he looks at me, he's like, what's that? And I'm like, I pooped, that's my just poop. And he's like, that's all I needed to hear, sir, and keeps going. One night when Jay was sleeping over, he asked me what made me most upset. And at that point, I was really heavily involved in the school theater department. I had performances all the time, and I would reserve 2 seats for my parents, but they would always be the only 2 empty seats in the auditorium. So one night I had a performance and I'm looking in the audience and I'm like, wow, 2 empty seats yet again. So I go to the black box feeling sad, whatever, and then I knock on the door and a girl walks in with a rose and a note, and on the note it says, as long as I'm here there won't be 2 empty seats. And I look in the audience from the curtains and I see that Jay's there with all of my best friends, and I literally just start crying backstage. And then after, I literally like run up to him and I'm like hugging him and everything, and my teacher comes up to him and is like, oh my God, I do not know if you are the reason that this kid blew his performance out of the water today, but girl, you better be showing up to every single show. And then he looks at her, looks at me, and he's like, yeah, that ain't the only thing he's gonna be blowing tonight. When I first got to military school, I really had to learn how to salute because apparently I wasn't doing it right, and I kept going like this. So one night I was hanging out with my executive private, and he's like the dude I was hooking up with the first night I was there, and we were watching like a little movie on my little iPod Touch. My first time hooking up with a person off Grindr in New York, I was telling my roommate how I was kind of nervous and I didn't know how this person was gonna be. So if I texted him this like one code word, which is like, haha, he's so funny, then he had to come into the room, so that other person had to leave. So I'm like bringing this guy over, and like the second he walks in, his voice is completely different than like the voice memos he sent, which is weird. And then like his pictures, like he looked way better in his pictures and he looked very off than what he catfished me. Let's just call it what it was. So I was like, my life. So I text my roommate, I'm like, haha, he's so funny. And then I was expecting my roommate just to walk in, but instead he busts the door open, he looks me in the eyes and he's like, again, Rami, you cheat on me again, you break my heart, bro. Who's this ugly guy? Yeah, who is this? And he's like, about to fight him, this dude. I'm like, no, don't fight him, don't fight. So I had a crush on this guy in my math class, but he played basketball, was super popular, so I just didn't think it would ever happen. But then one day he comes up to me and he's like, hey, do you want to do this like math project together? And I'm like, are you kidding? Yeah. So then we're doing the freaking math project together and we don't finish in class, so he asks me to go to his place. So I'm like, bet, even better. So I go over to his place after and we're hanging out, we're doing this project, whatever, and then we start playing the game, Are You Nervous? And then of course, none of us are nervous, so we start hooking up. And then after, we start becoming like best friends. He would come over, sleep over every weekend. I would always have dinner at his parents' house. It was just such a good relationship. But then one day he was texting me and he's like, hey, I need to be honest with you. I kind of like when we play Are You Nervous? And I really like you. And I was like, wait, hold up. I like you too. And he's like, wait, you're gay? And I was like, wait, are you? And he was like, yeah. And then, girl, that was my first. Before my mom found out I was hooking up with guys, she would always tell me that she was not going to be raising any babies in her home. So this one time, I literally had my friend over because she was super scared that she might be pregnant. So she came over and she was like doing her little test thing. And I was like, okay, girl, guess what? You're not pregnant, because I was telling her. And she's like, oh my God, bless, let's go celebrate. So we like literally go, we have like a day, we like go get our nails done and stuff. And then I come back home and my mom is literally sitting on the counter like this with a pregnancy test wrapped in a tissue right next to her. And I'm looking at her like, oh, what's up? And she's like, what's up? Rami, what is this? I see this in your bathroom. Did you get girl pregnant? And I look at her, I'm like, Mom, no, don't worry about that. I'm still gay. It was literally my friend. And she looks at me and she's like, you're still gay. Of course. The one time I was happy to think you might have a girl. Why can't you let me have this one? And she literally throws the thing away and stops off to her room like she really wanted me to have a baby. So when I was younger, I had this really weird problem where I would like sleepwalk and I would pee on random things and I had to go to the doctor and get medicine for it. But one night I was literally like sleepwalking, whatever, and I go into my parents' room and I climb onto my dad's freaking bed and I start to pee literally right next to his pillow. And then he's like freaking out apparently. I don't remember any of this, but then I wake up the next morning and I'm like, woo! We're ready for elementary school, you know, girl? So I'm like going downstairs, I'm making a bagel and everything. And my dad comes up to me and he's like, oh, do you smell me? Do you smell me? I smell like pee. I'm going to work right now smelling like pee. Do you think this is funny? And I was like so confused, like putting some cream cheese on my bagel. Like, sir, why are you flipping out? And then he leaves for work and I look at my mom, I'm like, he's tripping. And she's like, do you not remember what you did? And I'm like, no, like, what did I do? And she's like, you pissed all over his face. So I had to go to an all-boys military school, and the second night there, I was hanging out with all the guys, and they were asking me about sports, and I was like, girl, listen, I know me a thing or two about balls, but not about sports. So we're all laughing and everything. The next day comes, and the football coach comes up to me and is like, oh, hey, pal, what's up? All the boys here are telling me that you know a thing or two about balls. Why don't you come to practice? So I look at him like, because they did me dirty. They know I wasn't talking about no sports balls. So I go to this practice, and the coach gives me a football, and he's like, oh, can you pass it around to the other teammates? And I was like, sure. Throw the ball like a pansy, like, and it never even made it to the other side, y'all. But then he pulls me to the side and he's super confused, like, okay, maybe being an active member on the team isn't your thing, but I'm sure there's another position on the team that you could fulfill. So I'm looking at the water station and looking at him like, honestly, coach, make me the water boy, because, if these boys need their thirst quenched, got it. So my dad would not let me have any guy friends because he thought it was gonna make me more gay. So I would only have girlfriends. And then this one time I wanted to hang out with this dude in my math class, but I couldn't hang out with him alone unless I basically lied and said he was my tutor. So I failed my first 2 math tests, and then I go to my dad and I'm like, oh my God, Dad, I'm literally gonna fail this class. I need a tutor. And he was like, oh, you need to find a kid in your class with A's. And I was like, oh, I know a kid. And he's like, oh, use him as a tutor. And I was like, bet. So my mom would literally drop me off at this library every single Thursday and give me some money. And I would go into the library like, okay, time to go for my tutor, Mom. And I would go in, meet up with this boy, and then I would get in his car and we'd go on like a date. I'd use the tutoring money to pay for our dates, and then we'd go hook up at his house, and then we'd go watch a movie, and then we literally just like drop me off at the library at the end of the day, and I would wait for my mom, and I'd get back in the car, and she'd be like, oh my God, how was the tutor? And I was like, oh my God, Mom, you won't believe it. Not only is he helping me get A's, but girl, am I getting the D? This one time I was like playing pranks with my roommates, and the thing was my roommate was a crazy alcoholic and I never drank, so he would always try to get me to drink and I was always trying to get him not to drink. So I would take his vodka and like pour it out the sink, and then he would take like my water bottles and put so much vodka in it, and we kept doing this for weeks and we would always get so mad at each other. But then this one time I was like running super late for class, so I'm running out grabbing all my stuff, and then I'm like getting to class and everything, and then I'm like acting major. So my teacher was like doing a little monologue for us. He was going Shakespeare on our asses, and then all of a sudden this old man starts choking. So I'm like, oh my God, I got water, sir. So I'm giving him my water, and he's like, keep choking on it, trying to chug this thing, and all of a sudden spits this out, and his eyes literally go, oh, and I look at him because I know what the hell just happened, and he starts screaming, get the fuck out of my room, and I say, yes, sir. I got my teacher blackout drunk, y'all. So I was hooking up with this dude one time, and then his mom got home early, so he was like, yo, you have to hide in the bathroom. So I get in there, and I'm like, okay, hiding in the bathtub and everything, and I did not realize, y'all, he had a freaking twin bathroom. So someone comes in from the other door, and I was thinking that it was him getting ready, like looking all cute and stuff, and then, y'all, the curtain opens, and then his sister is naked, y'all, and she's about to take a shower, and I was like, and then she starts freaking kicking me. She's like, who are you? And I was like, stop, your boyfriend, I don't know. And then as he walks in, and then his mom walks in, and then his dad walks in, and then he's looking at his sister, and then his sister's looking at him, and they both know what's going on. I have no clue what's going on, you know, and the parents are infuriated. Who's this freaking brown kid in their bathtub? And then the sister's like, yeah, this is my boyfriend. He tripped, and he had a spider. I was kicking the spider. He's safe though. And then her mom's like, but why are you naked? You're not supposed to have a phone at military school, but I snuck in my iPod Touch by like putting it in between my butt cheeks, and like he didn't check in there. So I literally had my iPod Touch, and you're supposed to go to bed by like 10 o'clock every single night, and they check up on you like every single time to make sure you're not on your computer or whatever. So then one night I was like watching Netflix on my phone, and then the sergeant dude slams his door open, and I'm like pretending to be asleep, and he's like, rat, I know you're awake, I saw you through my screen. And I was like, and he's like, don't pretend to be sleeping, I saw you awake. And at this point, I can't even keep it silent anymore. I'm like, like laughing into my freaking pillow, like he can hear me. And he's like, rat, wake up, what are you doing? He's just like literally yelling at me. At this point, my roommate's looking at me like, bro, we all know you awake. And then this dude like gets so mad that he just slams the door and leaves. And then I wake up, look at my roommate, and I'm like, oh my God, was someone here? I was the only person with an iPod/iPhone at my military school because I snuck it in through my butt. And one night, I was in the locker room with all the guys, and we were like all talking, and then they were like, oh my God, we really want pizza. And I was like, oh my God, I can order some. So I was ordering it on my iPod, and then we sneak to the front of the school. We meet up with the delivery dude, and we get the pizza. We go back to my room. We're eating the pizza and everything. And then we like get scared because it's getting late. So everyone goes to their room, and I'm like cleaning up and everything. And then I literally hear the sergeant dude. So I literally like try to like clean everything up, and I like jump into my bed. And as I jump in, the sergeant dude literally busts the door and turns the lights on, and I'm literally like, and he looks and he's like, rat, why is there a piece of pepperoni on the floor? And I'm like, and he's looking at my face, and he's like, why is there crumbs on your mouth? And I'm like, into my pillow, and he's like, rat, I think you're eating, I know you're eating pizza, this is unacceptable. And he's literally like slamming on everything in the room, and he literally slips on the box of pizza, slams the door, and leaves. So everyone is at military school for different reasons. Some people were there because their parents made them be there because they were too rebellious at home and they needed discipline. Others wanted to join the military later in life, so they wanted that as a stepping stool. Others got caught with drugs and the court made them be there, but I was there because my parents thought it was gonna make me straight. So I'm sitting in my history class and we're supposed to go around and basically tell everyone why we're here and how we're gonna use this program to better ourselves. So it gets to me and I'm looking at the class like, hey guys, so my name's Rami and I'm here because my parents think this is gonna make me straight. So my teacher looks at me and he's like, no, that's not funny. That's something, you shouldn't joke about this. Can you please be honest with your classmates? They're being very vulnerable with you right now and you're being very disrespectful. So look at him, I'm like, sir, that's really why I'm here. And he's like, no, I have your file. I can embarrass you in front of this class or you can be honest. So I said, you know what, sir? Enlighten the class. So he literally goes in his file, he's looking at his computer, then he looks at me and he's like, damn, out of all places, they gonna send you to an all-boys school? Ain't this like your Mecca? So I had a crush on my best friend's older brother, but I never act on it because I thought the aftermath would always be too awkward. Well, this one time I go over to my best friend's house and he isn't there, but his brother is. And his brother's like, yo, do you want to go with me to Chipotle? And I was like, yeah, sure. So we're driving there and we start flirting, we're talking, things start escalating. And he's like, yo, do you just want to park in the back of Chipotle? And I was like, sure, whatever. So we're parking in the back of Chipotle. We get out, we like put down all the seats in his back and we get into the back and we're like about to hook up and everything. And I like pull this thing out and y'all, I swear to God, the car went from a car to a fish market and I go, do you not smell that? And he's like, what? Well, what's wrong? And I was like, what do you mean what's wrong? What's wrong is I think you have an STD because that's what an STD is probably going to smell like. And then we like stop and then I go back and everything. And then his brother hits me up the next day and is like, yo, what happened between you and my brother? And I'm like, bro, nothing. Your brother's got a fish dick. My first boyfriend, we'll call him Jay, he asks me on my first date, which was to go to the game on Friday. So him and I go with a group of our friends and we're all there and he's like, yo, do you want a hot dog? And I was like, bet, yeah, I want to get a hot dog. So then we get one, whatever, he gives it to me and I take a bite. And then we're not out to any of our friends yet at this point, but he's like, oh my God, that's hot. And I was like looking at him and then all our friends are looking at him and he's like, hot dog. That was a hot dog. And I'm like looking at him like, boy, you so slick, you know? So then we start like walking off, like everyone's doing their own thing. So we go behind like the stadium thing, like, you know, what's gonna happen? So we start kissing and everything, and then all of a sudden my best friend walks up behind me. She's like, oh my God. And I was like freaking out at this point because I had no idea how she felt about like me being gay. But then she looks at me and she's like, I'm so freaking mad at you. Do you know how long I wanted to have sleepovers but I couldn't because my mom thought you were freaking straight? One of the sergeant dudes thinks I'm giving him attitude. Turns out he was the same dude that makes the daily scheduled chore list. So he goes up to me, he's like, haha, you think you're being so funny giving me attitude? Well, I think I'm gonna be the one laughing when I see you on your hands and knees mopping all the staircases, and makes me go mop all the staircases. So I'm mopping the staircase and everything, and then my friend comes to join me, the one that I got caught the other night with, and he is like, yo, how are you? What are you doing right now? And I'm like, freaking mopping, what are you doing? And he's like, I don't know, I'm kind of, and I was like, oh my fucking Lord, boy, this is not the time, I gotta be cleaning the floor. And he said, I mean, you're gonna be on your hands and knees anyways. And I said, you're right. So I'm getting on my hands and knees, y'all. And then, of course, the sergeant walks in and he's like, whoa, what are y'all doing? And turns his face. And I'm like, wait, sir, is this not what you meant by getting your hands and knees? So my military school had a really big problem with kids trying to run away from the school, so they never let us off the campus, but we had these little windows inside of our room. So every single night we would all like sneak out of our rooms. We would just like hang out. Some people would smoke. Some people would just like sneak across the street to 7-Eleven and get food. So this one time I was literally sneaking out to get food from 7-Eleven, and I'm coming back to my room and I'm about to sneak in, and I notice that the sergeant dude is in my freaking room and he's looking at my room and like, where's your freaking roommate? And I was like, okay, I cannot just sneak back in here because I'm gonna ruin it for everybody else, you know? So I'm literally trying to go across the school, but they have so much security, so I'm trying to like sneak past everything, and then all of a sudden I see a flashlight come my way, so I go, and then all of a sudden the dude's like, bro, what are you doing walking out so late? And I look at him, I'm like, oh my God, was I sleepwalking? Is this not the bathroom? Y'all, so when I had to go to this old boys military school, I was actually super good at math. So I actually ended up placing in a really high math class. So I was sitting next to one of the juniors and he asked if I could tutor him after class. So I said, yeah, bet, I'll meet you in the library. So I'm sitting next to him in the library and everything. And he's like pulling out all his stuff. And he's like, yo, this equation's super hard. So I'm like, nah, bro, I got you. And then he's like, yo, this one's hard. I was like, no, I got you. So he's like, well, what about this one? I was like, nah, I got you too. Like I was showing him everything. And then he's like, well, I got this really long equation. I don't know if you can handle it. It's gonna be really hard. And I was like, nah, man, I got you. And he's looking down, so I look down with him and I realized, y'all, he ain't talking about no long math equation. He's talking about his long day. Anytime you got in trouble at this military school, they made you do this obstacle course. And of course, I got in trouble quite a bit, so I had to do this obstacle course quite a bit. So I'm going through it, I'm running through everything. I have to climb this shit, and I literally go through the roping crap. And then at the end, he's like, okay, Rat, do 50 push-ups. And I look at him, I'm like, no, I can't do 50 push-ups. And he's like, Rat, give me 50. I'm like, fine. So I'm like trying to do these push-ups, and I stop after 10. And he's like, 40 more. And I say, sir, I don't got 40 more in me. He's like, okay, fine, 25 more. And I said, sir, I don't have 25 in me either. And he's like, fine, 15. I look at him and say, sir, listen, I can count too, but guess what? It doesn't mean I can do any more. And then he's like, okay, fine, you can finish them on your knees. And I said, fine, line them boys up. I'll finish them all on my knees. So every single morning at military school, they make you wake up when the sun is rising so that you can go salute the flag, and you have to do it in perfect uniform. So I'm standing at the front of the school in perfect uniform, saluting the flag, and then this lieutenant comes up to me and he's like, Rat, guess what? Today's the day you have to shave your head. And I look at him like, excuse me, sir? You mean you trying to turn me into a chia pet? So then he's like, come with me. And I'm like, oh, my life. So I'm walking with him, whatever. And then I get to this barber shop that's actually just some old Russian lady with a freaking scissor. And I'm like, oh, my life. And she's like, okay, sit down. What do you want? And I was like, okay, so I really want like this to be faded, super clean. And then I want the top to be longer. Only use scissors on the top. I don't do clippers. And she's like, oh, okay. So you want 0 all over. I couldn't leave the mental hospital until my dad agreed to come into the hospital and talk with the counselor and talk like about working the relationship out at home. So he would never come in, and my social worker was this little small girl with a lot of hope, but she just did not understand my situation at all. So I would always like talk to her and be like, girl, he just does not like me being gay. And she's like, okay, well, we can work past that. And I was like, girl, you can try. So this one day she walks into my room and she's like, oh my God, Rami, guess what? Your dad and your mom's here, and I think today's gonna be the day you get discharged. They just the day, I feel it. I was like, okay, let's go, girl. So I'm like walking with her and I see how much pep she has in her step. So we get into the room and I can see the fury in my dad's eyes the second he sees me being gay. So I sit down and he's like, are you still gay? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, that's it. I'm so done with you. And the lady's like freaking out. She's like, why is he flipping out? And I was like, you know what, Dad? F you. And he looks at me ready to smack me into a different nationality. And then she like pulls me out of the room and I look at her. I'm like, girl, guess what? I think I'm going to go pack a bag. I think it went real well. This one time I was chilling in my room with all the other guys in this military school, and then this one dude comes in and he's like, yo guys, I got some chicken nuggets. And then everyone else is like, oh my God, I want chicken nuggets. And then the dude next to me is like, oh my God, whoa, bro, that's not fair. I give you so many chicken nuggets. Last time I got chicken nuggets, you owe me one. And then the other dude's like, nah, bro, these chicken nuggets are crazy. You're gonna have to work way hard if you want some of these chicken nuggets. So then this dude is like, okay, fine, I'll give you a quickie for a chicken nugget. And then the dude's like, bet, fine. And then they shake each other's hands. I'm looking at them like, oh my Lord, y'all really giving each other quickies for some chicken nuggets? And then the dude looks at me, he's like, I bet, taxi, Rami, you gotta do it. And I look at him and say, excuse me, sir? And he says, yeah, what's up? I thought you liked it. So I was on the varsity swim team, and every single time before a dive, me and the other boys, we would like slap each other on the butt super hard as like a good luck thing. So one time we were practicing dives and this one dude would keep going in front of me and he would always be like, bro, you can't slap me harder, can you? And I was like, yeah, bro, I got you. Slap. And he was like, bro, that's all you got? I'm like, nah, bro, I got more. And I would slap him even harder. But then, y'all, he messages me on Instagram yesterday and he's like, hey, bro, how have you been? Oh my God, do you remember me? And I was like, of course I remember you. Bro, are you still swimming? Then he's like, yeah, I hate swimming. I never liked it. So I was like, yo, why'd you do it? Turns out, y'all, he just did it because he liked when boys slapped his butt. So I used to drink like 3 caramel frappuccinos a day, and then Starbucks had this thing where like if you got an iced coffee, you could get free refills. So what I would do was get an iced coffee, and then I would get like the frappuccino base, and then put ice in it and make them mix it and make it like exactly like a caramel frappuccino. And my mom loved this. She loved it so much that literally her and I would go from Starbucks to Starbucks to Starbucks in our little neighborhood, which there was like 4, and we would keep getting refills. We'd get one here and then another one here and then another one, and we would do it so much that one time we literally were pulling up to one of the Starbuckses. We get to the drive-thru and we're about to make our order, and then he was like, "Ma'am, can you please pull up to the front of the window?" So we get there, and he like comes with his manager, and he's like, "Hey, listen. So we've been talking to a lot of the other managers around the area, and we've noticed that you've been going from store to store getting free refills." My mom literally puts the car in, and starts driving off, looks at me and says, "Boy, we going to Dunkin' Donuts from now on." So I had this super homophobic PE teacher, and he was also my driver's ed teacher. And this one time when I was in driver's ed, he literally sits right next to me, and he was like, "Oh, well, this worksheet might be really hard for you, Rami." And I was like, "Why?" And he's like, "Well, this one's on safety and precaution. What do you do in case you get in an accident?" And I look at him, I'm like, "I don't know. You just like keep your hand on the steering wheel." And he was like, "Oh, that's good. I expected guys like you to take their hands off and put their hands on their face screaming." And I look at him, I'm like, "Ha, so funny." So I'm like finishing my worksheet. He leaves, and then he calls on the class, and he's like, "Okay, who wants to pick out the answers? Who's gonna fill it up on the board?" And I'm not raising my hand, but somehow he picks me and says, "Rami, you wanna do it since you know so much?" And I was like, "Okay." So I go to the front of the board, and I said, "You know what? It's my turn to be slick." So I finish doing the whole thing on the board, and I look at him, and he looks at me, and he's like, "Rami, why'd you only fill out the bottom half?" And I look at him, and I say, "Well, guys like me prefer when guys like you do the top half." Y'all, so this is my school, and this happened, right? Let me explain though. I was in my sociology class, y'all, and I had to leave that class the week before because this man offered to buy me Gucci shoes. So I said, "I'm gonna make this man's pockets hurt," and got them shoes. But then the class told my teacher that they saw me get hit by a car, and that was the reason I wasn't in class. So I had to pretend like I had a broken foot. So I would walk into class every single day with a boot and crutches. And of course, my luck, when I do this, we get an email that there is someone in the bathroom with a... So I freak out, and I start taking my boot off right away, and then she's like, "Yo, hold up, I thought you broke your leg." And I said, "Hold up, I thought you should mind your business because someone in the back